Welcome to TWIN BUSCH Germany, your competent specialist since 1997 in professional vehicle workshop equipment. With a corporate headquarters in Germany and 9 other branches in 7 countries, as well as over 40 sales partners worldwide, we are one of the leading manufacturers of vehicle lifts, wheel balancers, and tire changers. Hello, we will now show you how to assemble your 2-post lifts TW250 and TW260 from TWIN BUSCH. Your 2-post lift TW250 is delivered in 3 packages. You should put something under the transport frame to avoid damaging the floor. The motor unit and motor cover are delivered as additional packages. The hydraulic oil is not included in the delivery and must be ordered separately. The instruction manuals can be found in the package with the motor unit. Please read them carefully. Remove the floor plate and put it aside. You will need it later to measure the correct distance between the posts. More parts are found inside the posts. The box with the additional parts is found between the posts. Open the box with the additional parts. Make sure your delivery is complete using the packing list. Remove the parts inside the posts and put them aside. The control unit is found inside the second post. Before removing the screws from the transport frame, we will secure the space between the posts as well as the space between the second post and the floor. This way we avoid scratching the posts against each other, while also relieving the screws to remove them. We lift the posts slightly so that the transport frame doesn't touch the floor again after securing the space between post and floor. Make sure to elevate the post only enough to relieve the transport frame. Keep the risk of the posts falling to the side as low as possible. The same procedure follows on the other side. The upper post can be taken out now. The bolts are relieved by lifting slightly for this. After removing the bolts, the post can be lowered. Now the lower bolts can be taken out as well. Once the transport frame is removed, the post should be lifted up on this side again and the blocks should be removed to keep the danger of falling as low as possible. Now we can finally loosen the upper post on the second side and put it aside. Relieve the bolts. Loosen the upper post. Then you can take the upper post to its future position. The upper post is usually the main post. You can recognize it by the openings for the installation of the motor unit. Before beginning the assembly process, you should consider the position in which you will be placing your twin bush lift. First, you will want to decide where you would like to position the main post, which houses the motor and control units. Keep in mind, the position in which you place this column is where you will be operating your lift. On this side, you will need some space for operation. Also from this side, you have the electrical connection, which if possible, is better from above. Consider the space in front and behind the lift as well. Depending on the driving direction and the distribution of weight, you should plan more or less space in front or behind your lift. Take the main post to its future position. The second transport frame can be removed now and the second post can be taken to its future place of installation. But first, take out the lifting arms from the interior of the assistance post. The main post can be erected now. Position the second post as well. The optimal position of the posts depends on the previously installed equipment and the required space in front and behind the lift. Make sure the posts cannot fall until they are finally anchored to the floor. The exact distance between the posts is measured by setting in the floor plate. Put the plate between the posts and align the posts exactly. Mount the safety locks on both sides. Screw the 4 electromagnets on the exterior of the posts first. Hang the catch from the inside and secure it with the included mounting bracket. Mount the hydraulic hose that leads to the hydraulic aggregate. Remove the thread protector and the nut, and mount the hose in the provided perforation. The carriages must be raised to the first locking position for further assembly. Warning: the carriages are not yet secured by the steel cables and could slide out of the locks. We recommend to secure the carriages with wooden blocks to prevent them from falling down during further assembly. Put the upper plate aside. Take out the steel cable now. The steel cables start at their respective carriage on each side and go upwards around the upper pulley. From there, all the way down to the pulley at the bottom of the post and then towards the other post. Here we see the second steel cable. The steel cables are now connected to the 2 lifting carriages and form a loop circuit, which forces the carriages to work synchronously. Pull the open end of the cable out of the post, the other end stays in the carriage. Unscrew the nuts. To guide the cables through the pulleys have to be turned so that the openings make space for the cables to pass. Finally, you should also check the rotation of the posts with a thread. A thread will be tensed from one post to the other for this. The thread should form a straight line between the posts. Here's an overview of the procedure. The alignment should only be done by turning the post on its own axis. Here we show an example of how to drill and fix the anchor bolts. Be careful to drill the right size and depth, and the right concrete thickness. If the anchor bolts are not fixed correctly, or if the concrete does not conform to the technical requirements, this could affect the stability of the lift. The exact technical requirements can be found in the instruction manual. To fix the anchor bolts, you do not have to move the lift. Drill vertically and take care of the depth. Be sure to remove all dust and debris from the drill hole. Drive in the anchor bolt carefully and straight, using a sledgehammer. Before tightening the nuts, check your columns to make sure they are correctly aligned and level. If necessary, you can level the posts with the delivered spacers. When the posts are level, tighten the nuts with a torque wrench to 120 Newton meters. Open the control box and take out the screws to mount the control box. To mount the control unit, screw the screws on the main post and hang the control unit on its place. Fix the control box with the 4 screws from the inside. The required screws for the installation of the motor unit are found in the package with the additional parts. Place a screw with retaining ring, spacer, and nut on each of the 2 lower holes of the motor unit. Remove the magnetic coil of the release valve for an easier installation. The motor can now be hanged on the main post. Position the retention plate for the motor cover between the motor unit and the post with a spacer. Put a shim and a nut on the screw. Tighten all 4 screws. Screw the motor's hydraulic connection tightly. The hydraulic aggregate and the post can now be connected using the short hydraulic hose. Tighten all hydraulic connections. Make sure that the release valve is closed. Mount the magnetic coil of the release valve. Guide the cable for the release valve into the main post. Also guide the cable of the motor unit into the main post. Fill the oil tank with hydraulic oil up to the mark. This is normally 10 liters. Lay the long hydraulic hose between the posts and screw it on. Pay special attention to a careful and firm screw connection. Connect the electromagnets from the assistant side with the long Y cable. Make sure that the cable cannot be pinched during later operation. The long end of the cable goes towards the main side, while the other 2 plugs will be connected to the electromagnets from the assistant side. To connect the lower magnet, the carriage has to be brought down again. The lock has to be released manually for this. Lift the carriage and pull the pin from the back side. The carriage can be lowered then. Finally, lift the carriage up to the first lock again and secure it with a wooden block if possible. Our practical tip: you can pull the end of the Y cable of the assistant side through the post using a tape measure. The next step is mounting the limit switch. Before you install the limit switch, the arm should be adjusted slightly longer. Remove the mounting screws. And install the switch as shown at the top of the main post. The roller on the switch should point diagonally downwards. After mounting the switch, guide the cable through the duct. The electromagnets from the main post will now be connected with the short Y cable as shown here. The long end will go through the upper hole. Route all the cables into the control box. To connect the lower electromagnet with the short Y cable, the carriage must be lowered here as well. Lift the carriage and release the lock by pulling the pin manually, then lower the carriage. Connect the lower electromagnet to the remaining plug of the short Y cable. Connect the short or long Y cable to the control box with one of the 2B plugs. Connect the limit switch cable with the plug marked with an A. Now connect the release valve to the control box with the C plug. Connect the remaining Y cable to the second B plug in the control box. Please note, the following electrical installation should only be carried out by a qualified electrician. The exact wiring can be found in the instruction manuals. To mount the covers for the safety release system, set in the screws lightly and then mount the cover on them. Then screw the covers tightly. Screw the locking nuts on the threads of both steel cables. Afterwards, the floor plate can be put on and fixed. A first test run can be performed now. Set in the screws for the cover plates and the interior of the posts. Then mount the cover plates in sequence from bottom to top. Make sure not to pinch any cables. The cover plates will be mounted the same way in the other post. You can close the control box now. Prepare 2 pins to mount the lifting arms on the first side. Put in the first arm and fix it with the pin. As a practical tip to facilitate the assembly, we recommend blocking the arm locking system with a nut. For example, mount the remaining arms in the same way. Put on the lifting pads. Check the correct placement of the thread protection. Put the circlips on the pins to prevent them from slipping out. Mount the foot protectors on the lifting arms. Make sure that the protectors are mounted so that the screws are above. Mount the motor cover now. Screw the mounting brackets on the main post first. After that, you can put on the cover and fix it with the included screws. Mount the door protectors. Finally, you can fix the holding brackets for the extension adapters. To mount the post protective covers, you have to set in the hooks first. Hang the post protective cover on the hooks. Push the protective cover through the provided gap in the carriage. Screw the cover to the bottom of the post. Tension the covers lightly and then block the nuts. Put the covers on the top of the posts. The assembly of your 2-post lift TW250 is now concluded. We will now show you how to correctly adjust the cable tension of your 2-post lift. The cable tension is necessary for synchronizing both carriages. Use two 24mm wrenches to loosen the nuts. We use a tire lever to tension the cables. Start with the post opposite the motor side. This side usually just needs to be adjusted once to get your base tension. All further adjustments are now made exclusively on the main post. Since the leveling cables are connected to one another, tensioning the main side now automatically leads to tensioning on the opposite side. Raise your lift upwards and pay attention to the clacking sound of the safety locks. The side with the hydraulic pump should click first, then the opposite side. Remember, before adjusting the tension, lower the slides to the next locking position, using the lock button on the control box. When the locks click at the same time, the optimum cable tension has been achieved. Now take the wrench again, and lock the upper nuts on both sides. This completes the adjustment of the steel cable tensioning process. Make sure that all screws are tightened correctly and that oil is not coming out of the machine before using your lift.